Today I fucked up by making cookies for a friend after her aunt died. This literally happened half an hour ago. Here in the southern states of the US, when someone has a death in the family, we bring baked goods and or cooked meals to people. I'm sure that's probably the tradition most places, but I'm adding because I don't know that it's a tradition everywhere, and also I'm not super confident in all y'all's upbringings sometimes. Anyway, my good friend's aunt just died, and I know it must be really hard for her because she doesn't have much family left. Both of her parents died a few years ago, only child, etc. Last week, I found this brown butter chocolate cookie recipe that legit makes the best cookies I've ever had in my life. I thought I'd make them again for her, as they're really tasty and can be wrapped individually, so she can take them as a snack on the plane to the funeral. My baking homies know the brown butter drill, but for those who don't, you essentially semi-boil butter until it turns brown. You have to continually stir the butter, otherwise it will straight up volcano explode in your face. Here's the fuck up. I took my eyes off the pan for 1 second. Literally 1 second. I was still stirring this goddamn pan. And even still, this fucking butter did the volcano explosion. You know those videos of Mentos in Cokes, and how that explosion looks? Yeah. That's how butter explodes. The problem is that this boiling butter exploded right into my whole fucking face. So now, I have burns all over my face from fucking boiling butter. I've now spent the last half hour doing a teleconsult with my Phil, an ER doctor, crying to my so about my ruined face and making him promise to only ever break up with me because of my personality and not my ugly face, and being seriously sad that I'm out of butter and I can't even finish baking the cookies for my friend. Meanwhile, my so has now called me a butterface, my mom told me to just put some butter on my burns, and my sister said she can't wait to see what I cook up for Thanksgiving. At this point, the Xanax is helping more than the aloe vera. Too long didn't read, tried making some cookies for a grieving friend, instead I burned my face with boiling butter. And do not have any more butter to finish making the fucking cookies. I am so very sorry that happened to you, but I appreciate you sharing it in such a witty fashion. Get well soon. Yes, for a legitimately the best cookie I've ever had, I'll run the risk, if you'd like to share the recipe. Lol, I hope the burns are not that bad, otherwise these family jokes are brutal. I guess you could say the butter isn't the only thing burning up. Butterface. Brutal. I was interested in the recipe till I got to your FU. Think I'll pass on those cookies. Well, those cookies do look pretty good. I've always liked the idea of brown butter cookies, but each time I make it myself, like 3 times in the past 5 years, I'm not too impressed. If you're really interested, then you just have to be careful. Everyone says to use medium or medium-high heat when browning butter, which I do until it starts foaming and singing. Once I feel the fine spatters of butter on my hand, I turn down the heat to low and stir. Haven't had my face blown off yet, /knocks on wood /edit. Okay, I don't want to be responsible for your injury. If you do attempt this and it's your first time, please go low and slow, and cook/stir longer, and wear a face shield LOL. I completely lost it when you got to the part about making your so promise to only break up with you because of your personality and not your ugly face. Today I fucked up by accidentally mocking my dental hygienist's accent. I am feeling like the biggest jerk in the world this morning. Yesterday I spent 2 long hours at the dentist trying to get caught up on some cleaning and fillings before my benefits roll over for the year. As I am getting my teeth cleaned, my wonderful hygienist, first time having him, points out that I have a deep pocket in my gums that I'll need to keep clean and suggest I get a water flosser. He also mentions a harder to find L-flosser. L-flosser? I've never heard of that. Oh yes, it's like the professionals use. L-flosser. 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 Okay, thank you. I'm smiling, all genuinely and sincerely thankful for the advice here. I'll look for an L-flosser. Yes. L-flosser. Okay. This went on longer than I expected. I thought he was just really into this L-flosser thing, so he was making sure that when I went looking for one I'd really remember this amazing L-flosser. So I googled it this morning and, well, He was saying air flosser. He was Asian and I was totally misunderstanding his accent. Poor guy was trying to correct me and I thought he was just trying to help me remember. I am mortified. I may have to find a new dental clinic. Too long didn't read. I spent 10 minutes unintentionally mocking my dental hygienist's accent and now he probably hates me. So is an air flosser better than traditional thread floss? Hygienist here: watertight flossers are better if there are deeper pockets, as the water can go vertical into the deeper pocket, whereas the floss can only go 2 to 3 millimeters deep. Water flossers are also good if the person isn't/can't floss with sting floss. Floss is still the only one to clean the contact between teeth, so still needed. Personally, I felt like the Philips air flosser is crap. It's just a puff of air/mist that did nothing for me. I love the Waterpik, not sponsored/no affiliation. They have a new Sonic Fusion toothbrush with the Waterpik built into the brush head, so you can do both at the same time. Brilliant. What you describe doesn't sound like an intentional mock, just an honest misunderstanding of a phoneme, since different languages have different sounds. Smile. I know, but I'm still mortified. LOL. Apparently the R sound is almost a purely English construct. It's also a very weird thing to do with your mouth. This is why it's one of the last sounds children and non-native speakers master. I had a Korean guy ask me if I liked lap. Took several repeats and one reinforcement to figure out he meant rap. I have tinnitus and have trouble understanding people when they don't speak properly, and when you have them repeat it several times, instead of sounding the word out phonetically, they just incrementally raise their voice. It's very frustrating and actually part of my social anxiety disorder. If it was clear the guy meant something else, they could have written it down, or spelled it out for you. I have the same problem with tinnitus. People who tend to mumble a little have to repeat themselves over and over to me, and it doesn't help when they keep mumbling it. Speaking to people in the car when they're on Bluetooth is a lost cause. Anyway, nice to meet you, fellow person with this annoying ass affliction. That must have been so awkward for him. At least you have a fun story to tell now. Look at it that way. I'm trying. He seemed pretty cool about it at the time, but I can just imagine him going home and telling his wife, "You won't believe this, idiot, LOL." Today I fucked up by giving a lady hope that her husband would live. Happened yesterday. I manage a small company and one of my employees comes in visibly upset. She has just left her husband at the hospital to explain to me why she will be off work for a few days. He has had a major heart attack and is in pretty bad shape. Tell her not to worry about work, go be with her husband and family. She is crying and explaining that they were planning a big anniversary dinner for the day before Thanksgiving. It was their 44th and they were childhood sweethearts, etc. Here is the FU. She says the doctors are only giving him a 20% chance of survival, so I tell her about my father who had heart failure at age 59 and lived another 16 years afterwards, even though the doctors said he wouldn't make it through the night. Her face lit up and she said, "You've given me such hope." Her husband died 3 hours later and now I feel like shit. TL, doctor, told a lady her husband might live and then he dies 3 hours later. Absolutely not a fuck up. That is a hard situation to be in no matter what you try. How is she? Haven't spoken with her since she left my office. I will reach out to her in a few days. Imho, you did the only right thing, give her hope. Sometimes it's the only thing you have. After today I fucked up in my book. I have lost both parents, a few very close friends, and quite a few colleagues and acquaintances. Nothing about it is easy, but what you describe here is not FU and you shouldn't feel bad. You just had her focus on 20% versus sitting in more dread. I would recommend you reach out and offer every condolence and support you can. The next few months for her will be overwhelming and extremely difficult. Those grieving a close loss often secluded themselves. This is normal and to be expected. Don't pester, just be there if needed. If your work offers any bereavement services, counseling, etc., please make sure she has the info on those resources. My old employer actually had a system in place where people could donate leave to the person in need, as 3 days of bereavement pay may not be enough and other time off allotments might be restricted or used up. Working in healthcare, you learn really quickly to not give hope. We have this instinct to help and make people feel better, because the truth is we're uncomfortable, we want to feel better. You're trying to deal with the uncomfortable situation of being in proximity to her fear and grief by minimizing her problem and offering hope that you can't guarantee. The best thing for her emotions is to listen and affirm. My first miscarriage I worked with was the hardest. It changed how I talked to patients. Couple doesn't want to hear, "Velp, most pregnancies end in spontaneous abortion due to fetal defects in the first term." This isn't a fuck up, so much as you attempting to be a positive support in her life. Good on you, fellow bro. Condolences to the widow.